Hi everyone, these are your February 2017 horoscopes, and that's a month of love and a month of eclipses as well. We'll go in depth about it, but because it's the month of love, I want to bring you a very cheap and affordable webinar just for $19, below $20, that I'll do on the 12th of February, right after the eclipse and before February the 14th, the celebration of love. And it's gonna be on compatibility and love according to ancient method, Vedic method. We're gonna look at the soulmate chart, the 9 divisional on the Vamsha chart, and compare it to the birth chart of one person and the other. This is a technique that is very rare. I haven't seen anyone else use it, but one particular astrologer, and it's ancient one. It's given to her in Tibet, so it's amazing, guys. I personally use it a lot, and it shows whether you're soulmates, basically, because you can have sexual attraction and physical attraction with many people. Are you meant to walk the path together in this lifetime? Is there this attraction? And sometimes people can feel the attraction towards someone else, but the other one might not feel. They might feel sexually attracted to you, but might not feel the pull to spend your life with you. And we're going to be able to see whether it's both ways or one ways. It's an amazing technique. Come and join me, just $20. And then towards the end of February, on the 20-something, I think it was the 26th. Yes, on Sunday again, I'm going to do a webinar all about Neptune. Those of you who took all about Uranus, my webinar, you'll get a discount for it. And so come and join me for this one. It's been success, 6-7 hours it carries on. Gemini February 2017, and let's start by describing the two eclipses, the lunar and solar eclipse, because people get so frightened when eclipse season comes, because especially more observant people, they've noticed that their life can be turned around, can be shaken a lot, because eclipses are those alignments that actually trigger fated events in one's life, events that were predestined from before, almost like we barely have free will of what's happening. They just take us by storm, and they just kind of, it's almost like, they say we have 75% predestined events, and a lot of them are indicated by eclipses, basically. But those two eclipses don't directly affect Geminis, because they don't fall in the sign of Gemini or the opposite sign when it's most strongly felt, but they will still trigger certain areas of your life. And let's first start with the lunar eclipse, which happens around the 10th of February, and it's actually happening in your 3rd house. And this lunar eclipse, I believe it will be quite auspicious. It's not going to be so scary. It's going to be, look at the moon. This is the moon, and look, it's part of beautiful configurations, Gemini. It's so strongly supported by planets, good aspects. The green lines are good aspects with planets. The red lines are more tense aspects. But it's just part of this beautiful geometrical figures. The moon in your 3rd house is part of a grand trine, which indicates opportunities that come to you, which indicates inspirations, which indicates doors opening. And it's also part of another figure, which is this one, which is like mystic rectangle, we call it in astrology, when planets are in the shape of a rectangle from each other, and they're all very precise, within 1 to 3 degrees from each other, basically, for the perfect shape to form. And the rectangular shape is about something manifesting in a material way, something that can be implanted for a long way and that will give long-term results. So this full moon tends to give us things. And not only that, but full moon is when something comes to fruition, something comes into manifestation, something comes into material, just like the moon is full, and it's a lunar eclipse, but it's like lunar eclipses are full moons on steroids, as we call them, because they align so perfectly. The sun and the moon align so perfectly with the axis of the earth, with the earth, basically. And this lunar eclipse not only is part of beautiful configurations of inspirations and opportunities and ability to manifest in a material way, but it's also happening together with the north node of the moon, which I call it Rahu. This is how Vedic astrologers use it. I prefer north node. South node is more lengthy. So it's happening with Rahu, which is point of gain. Rahu is a point of material manifestation. Rahu is a point of creating something. It's a point of progressiveness. So it gives us something tangible. And where are you going to manifest? Where are you going to do something fated? It's in your third house where the lunar eclipse is happening. And it's not a particularly, life-changing house, the third house, but this is where you can manifest. Third house rules contacts, rules associates. So for example, something really important, almost fated, can happen in your life. And by the way, an eclipse acts a month before that, the lunar eclipse. So already in January you can feel that, you can start seeing the things forming up. And also especially the 40 days after the lunar eclipse, so up to the end of March basically, it's very intense. The results of the lunar eclipse are very intense. So almost to the end of March, what I'm telling you, you can see it. It's not necessary that it manifests on the 10th of February. If anything, it's always either a little bit before or within those 40 days after the lunar eclipse. So, okay, so you can manifest something in regards to some associate, in regards to some contact, in regards to, for example, you can finally build up your Facebook following, or you can finally start seeing your social media starting to happen. Third house rules all commercial activities. Commercial activities can be business transactions, can be administrative work of any sort. Just imagine, third house rules marketing, advertising, media. If any of you, being a Gemini, is involved in something with media, with communications, with writing, with speaking, with communicating with people, with teaching skills, with traveling, third house is also traveling. If you work in a team with people, third house means small working groups of teams with people. If you have something fated can happen in regards, and which brings you something in regards to relationships with your siblings, in regards to relationships with teammates, co-mates, playmates, in regards to relationships to neighbors and relatives as well, in regards to something to do with arranging documents of some sort. And I do believe it's going to be fated. It's something that's meant to happen to you. It's something that gives you growth and gain, even if it's a bit, because it's an important event, it might feel a little bit, as any important event, it can feel a little bit unsettling, but you will manifest in a positive way from this solar eclipse in regards to all those third house activities. So some commercial transactions, some commercial activities, something to do with learning skills or seeing the results of skills that you've learned, seeing them kind of fall together and start manifesting results, those skills that you've been learning. So travel, marketing, writing, advertisement, media, So I do think this lunar eclipse will be quite supportive basically for you, Gemini, especially if you happen to be the third decan of Gemini, because it's happening at 22 degrees. So, people born around, I don't know, if your sun or ascendant or moon is in Gemini, around those degrees, maybe from 15 to around 30 degrees. In Gemini, the last 15 degrees of Gemini, you will feel it, things starting to manifest in regards to those matters and move ahead and kind of develop and manifest. Okay, so then we have the solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse is about endings and new beginnings. And this one in particular is happening, Gemini, in your 10th house. The solar eclipse is on the 26th of February, but a solar eclipse lasts for up to 6 months, and a month and a half before the solar eclipse and up to 6 months after the eclipse, the effects can be felt. And it's happening, and solar eclipse, look how many planets are together in the sky. They're not making a shape, they're just joined together in your 10th house in the sign of Pisces. And the sun and the moon are together. This is what a solar eclipse is, or a new moon as well, new moon on steroids. Neptune is there. It's a very spiritual planet. It's a planet of releasing as well. Mercury is there, the planet that rules you. So it's almost like Mercury, your Mercury is part of this solar eclipse as well. So gets you very strongly involved in those endings and new beginnings, personally, Gemini. And they're especially centered around your social status and around your career and around achievements and, 10th house rules achievements, authority figures, institutions of power, your highest achievements, your career, your social status, like marriage as well. Marriage is part of social status. But this solar eclipse is kind of created by Ketu, the south node of the moon. You see how the lunar eclipse was created by Rahu, which gives you something? Ketu takes something away from you. But Ketu's name in Vedic astrology is a moksha planet, which means liberation planet. So it can take something away from you, but something that liberates you and frees you. Maybe from some kind of worldly responsibilities and duties that have finished their role in your life already. Maybe it can take something away from you, or you can release and be freed from some duty or responsibility, which is the 10th house of actions. You can be released from some boss, for example, or oppressive authority figure of some sort that has been on top of you. This lunar eclipse, this solar eclipse, sorry, can release you from such an authority figure. Or it can release you from a career, or from a career project, or from a career goal of some sort, which has finished its role in your life, which has played its role already. So sometimes it can create like a situation over the next few months where you let go of a career so you can start a new one. So you can start a new beginning in regards to your social status, because the sun and moon together, father and mother joining together to create new life. Solar eclipses are about making space for new beginnings in your life. But even if something is taken from you, and it might shake you up a little bit in regards to career, in regards to social status, in regards to all those 10 house matters that we talked about, it will be only because it's making space for, it's releasing you, it's liberating you. This is the Piscean energy, letting go and let go. You might feel like things are a little bit out of your hands when it comes to your career, when it comes to your project, when it comes to your social status. But I don't want you to freak out, because these planets are so spiritual, all of them here. Ketu, the sign Pisces, Neptune. They're so spiritual that they when you release this without worrying about it, without like stressing, oh, what's the future hold, they release you and they make space for something much better. And not only that, but this solar eclipse is happening conjunct a star called Scat, which translated means wish, fulfilling of wishes. Very strong for visualizing and for prayers, or for some spiritual activity that you do, which can make you fulfill some goal of yours. Because the 10th house is about the highest achievements we can have. Usually it's the career, usually it's the status in society we receive, the recognition out there, and the worldly duties and responsibilities we have. So I would advise you around the 26th of February to make a wish list in regards of those, in regards to your career, in regards to where you want your social status to take you, because over the next 5-6 months you'll be given a new opportunity there that can fulfill a wish of yours, because the star Scat, the fulfilling of wishes, is there. And not only that, but the magical planet Neptune is part of that configuration of the full moon, of the solar eclipse. And Neptune creates things out in a magical way, because Neptune is the invisible, which hasn't manifested yet, but which is like it has a matrix in the invisible world, because everything which is created in the material world, we just capture it from it's already created in the invisible world. It's already created, if you don't believe in the invisible world, in our imagination, so to speak. But this is basically Neptune rules. And Pisces, the realm, the 99% of the invisible, where everything exists in a potential already. So you are tapping into the creative power of this potential of the invisible, what is likely, what can happen, what exists already in the invisible. You can tap into it and manifest it in a magical way over the next 5-6 months. So if something is removed from your life, just accept it as a blessing that it's making place for something even better for you. If your social status is shaken up, if a career slips away, or some project or responsibility, don't bemoan it, don't be sad. Go with the energies of those planets that say release, release, let go, because we have something magical to fulfill, a wish of yours, that this is setting the that the February eclipse is setting the stage for. Okay, so don't be scared from those eclipses. And we also have Mars and Venus will be in your 11th house for the most of February, which is very social house, Gemini. So, and you'll be very charming and both are very strongly sexually charged planets, which magnetic, let's say, charismatic planets. So you can be very quite active in regards to matters of social activities, in regards to matters of being with friends, being being connected with like-minded people, taking on Mars in your 11th house is kind of taking initiatives in activities that involve other people, that involve groups of people, that following your long-term goals as well, and being very proactive in fulfilling and following your long-term goals as well. Impacting people in a big impacting people in a big way, big groups of people. If any one of you is involved in communicating with groups of people, in affecting people, it can be very productive, very happening month for you, Gemini. And especially the first 20 days of the month can be extremely active because most of the planets are in masculine sign, and as you know, Gemini is also a masculine sign, so the planets from other masculine signs are supportive, the initiative of all the other masculine signs, and you're one of them, of Gemini. And I do believe that it will be very socially busy month for you because the lunar eclipse is happening in 3rd house, social house of communication, contacts, business transaction, and Mars and Venus and Uranus as well in your 11th house, another social house of communication, more like creating contacts that are benefactory, that can lead to something. It's about impacting big groups of people, being influential. It's about gains and becoming more gainful as well. And it rules the marketplace. People involved in market activities can be much more entrepreneurial there. And the last thing that's very important in February is that Jupiter is turning retrograde in your 5th house. And this happens every year that Jupiter turns retrograde for 5 months, and it's gonna stay retrograde till June, till your birthday, Gemini, if you're a Gemini sun. But the first time in 15 years, in 12 years, it's going retrograde in your 5th house. And what can this mean? A retrograde planet, and Jupiter is the planet of opportunities, of blessings, of growing something, we love Jupiter. In your 5th house, which means it can bring something from the past, maybe a love relationships over the next 5-6 months. Maybe it can bring you high understanding, because Jupiter rules high understanding, seeing it from a different point of view, something, because when the planet moves backwards, it becomes, it's moving like against the normal thinking. So you get a different perspective over the next 4 or 5 months in regards to your love life. And you can gain it can be fantastic time, for example, if you have problems in dating and in sharing and receiving love, to really dig deep and investigate and search for information which can almost give you an aha moment why your love life is not going well. For example, why you keep repeating the same mistakes in love, or why you keep attracting the same situations, or why someone keeps taking advantage of you in love, or the other way around, And you can have like almost eureka, deep realization moments while Jupiter is retrograde, because its energy becomes more introverted, which means that you think deeper, you go deeper, you investigate more, you internalize the understanding of anything to do with 5th house, the understanding of creativity, the understanding of love and romance, the understanding of children. Some of you might get to understand on a deeper level over the next 5-6 months your children, what motivates them to research or to investigate something, and to gain higher knowledge in regards to, which can open doors, of course, and opportunity later on, in regards to your relationship with your child, or in regards to the character of your child, or the purpose of your child. Or some of you, 5th house rules creativity. So maybe some creative projects from the past can come back to you. Maybe you just had an idea a year ago or a few months ago that, I want to take up knitting, or I want to, develop some new passion and some hobby, or I want to turn my passion into business, because fifth house rules anything that is we're passionate about, which we can turn into business. So now when Jupiter turns retrograde, it can come back. It can come back as an opportunity for you, not just to have thought about it, but to actually implant it, to actually start working on it. And of course, retrograde planet requires 3 times more efforts, because during a retrograde period, we introvert something, we make it our own, and we implant it in our life. It comes back to us, so we work harder on it. So it requires 3 times more efforts that you have to work hard in regards to your children, in regards to your creative projects or business projects, and in regards to your love life. But by the end of the period, when Jupiter turns direct in June and starts moving direct again, you'd have a higher, better understanding, knowledge, or you'd have been able to implant this in your life. You might have been able to improve a relationship, love relationship, to improve a romantic relationship, to kind of work behind the scenes and to really work creatively on some project, which possibly there might be some delays because planet is moving backwards in your 5th house. Say you're working on releasing some album. Say you're working on making a new website, which is it's gonna be, you know, your face for your business. Say you're working on preparing and turning some hobby of yours into a business. Say you're working on a new creative idea that will expand your business. Well, while Mercury is moving retrograde, you will be possibly have to improve on that, rather than start seeing immediately the results and the growth of those new ideas. It might be a little bit delayed. You might have to work harder on it, but it can basically, once it starts moving direct, you'll start seeing the results of it. So yeah, that's what I see for the month of February for you. And of course, it's a month of love, you know, and the 5th house is a house of love and feeling love and giving love to the world and feeling like this connection to the inspiration, to divine inspiration that makes you childlike. And when Jupiter turns retrograde there, it will intensify matters, especially while it's stationary, the first 10 days of February, I would say. It will really intensify, and some important developments will happen in regards to your 5th house, with romance, with love, with children, with matters of the heart and creative projects as well. So thank you so much, Gemini. Thank you for being with me, and follow me on Facebook, where I give free readings every week to someone who wins, who has been watching my weekly horoscope. And we give a lot of other free readings with other astrologers and psychics. Thank you for supporting me.